Starting. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Coach Paul, and I am so grateful that you took the time to watch this video because when you get to hear and see our guest, Coach Kristen Langman, share with you how a sustainability food coach can make such a positive difference, one life at a time, for multiple generations, you're going to want to save this and share it and watch it over and over again. This person that I'm getting ready to have a wonderful discussion and conversation with is someone that I just met online, to be honest with you. We met through the community of Unlimited Profits members, led by Robert Hollis Jr. and Jeremy Buchholz. We'll make sure we give Jeremy a good plug there. Way to go, Jeremy. We're doing well. I'm doing well.
We're all doing well.
The thing that really got my attention about this guest that we have today is that she made the post on Facebook that if you're looking for a business coach or a successful life coach, I think you may have mentioned, you want to get in touch with Robert Hollis Jr. And I thought to myself, I said, I've known Robert Hollis Jr. for quite some time. I've known his dad for almost 20 years. And I never looked at him as a coach, but his documentation really speaks for itself. He has helped other people earn a sustainable income in his profession. So it made me really think a little bit more about the profession of coaching, maybe even humbled myself a little bit, if you know what I'm saying, because there's a lot of people out there that have the right knowledge, and they maybe even have the same intention of a positive, caring intention, but they may not have had the documentation to support the success that they're truly capable of. And so I wanted to get to know Kristen a little bit better and have you get to know her to see how she's already been successful in her life and why she's using the unlimited profit system to continue to reach out beyond all barriers, to break through barriers, and to communicate her message for a broad audience. So we're thankful that you're here. And Kristen, welcome.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me, and thank you. Thank you for that introduction. I'm blessed to be here, and I'm blessed to know you and to get to know you better. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this.
Well, tell me, you're such a young, beautiful, vibrant woman. How did you get into the profession of coaching and calling yourself a health or a sustainable coach? And I think you're also, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell the audience, you're a successful businesswoman, owner of Food Actions. Is that right?
I'm the owner of Food Actions. I'm the owner and founder of Food Actions, and it's brand new. It's less than a year old. So we are up and coming and looking forward to different opportunities that are available to us. So yeah, it's just kind of growing and expanding. And to answer your question, it all kind of just fell into place, or it is continuing to fall into place. Every single day as I have the opportunity to give my will and life over to God, He just does amazing and great things. And so, if you would have asked me 5 years ago or told me, hey, you're going to be a coach and you're going to be helping other people, I would have been like, yeah, right. There's just no way, because I can't even take care of myself. And that's how it was at that time. Is my health had deteriorated to such a point that at the age of 32, I wasn't even able to walk 30 minutes without being in such horrible chronic pain that I would be shuffling around like I was 80 years old. And my family at the time, they were perplexed just like I was, because I would go to the doctors and I was told, you're perfectly healthy. Your BMI is right, your cholesterol is right, your blood pressure is right, your weight is right, everything looks great. But I was in chronic, debilitating pain to the point where I thought I was going to have to file for disability without knowing why.
Right. I totally understand what you're saying, and I'm so glad that you're so comfortable in sharing your testimony of what you've gone through and what you're continuing to persevere and endure, because so many people out there, especially women, if you don't mind me saying, truly are struggling with chronic inflammation. They've used different terms like lupus and fibromyalgia and Sjogren's disease. It's just ridiculous how many doctors are guessing and looking for a label to put on somebody when there's really something else going on, isn't there?
Absolutely. It all comes from the inside and what you're putting in your body. And when I found out how much food impacted my overall health and found out, hey, I can be, like you said, vibrant. I can live. I can take care of myself in order to help other people. I mean, I just jumped on that. You know, what many people, the feedback I got from my doctor was that what has taken most or average of his patients 2 years to accomplish took me 6 to 9 months. I mean,
Six to
I
9 months.
just jumped in with both feet. So I just was like, I'm young enough where I can make a difference, and that's what I want to do. I want to allow God to work in my life in order to give back, and I
Hmm.
couldn't do that when I was sick myself. So one of my major priorities is to keep my health because it's important, and I want my clients to know the value of their own health and wellness. That's important to me because they can make a difference. They can make a huge difference in this world. We're each instilled in us the Spirit of God, and with that, we can do anything. We can do anything.
Well, it's amazing how the power of the Spirit of God is ever present, omnipresent. You and I, like we were telling our audience earlier, we've never met face to face, and we're on this technology device right now that allows us to meet face to face and be one in conversation for the benefit of many. Because as we know, whenever two or more are gathered in His name, things can really transform in the world. So tell us a little bit about your faith and how you came to rely on the Lord.
Well, it's a really fun story.
Oh, that's good. Most times it's people in desperation that are suffering, but this is going to be good. I like it. Fun.
It's that too.
Oh, okay, gotcha. You got a
But
great
it
attitude, Kristen. I
brought
love
me
it.
to where I am, right? So I mean, it's so fabulous because I was working in the banking industry. I was working in a department, called the collection department, and it wasn't, everybody's best friend, but as you can tell, I was actually asked for by name quite a bit because I wanted to help people. I wanted them to be able to get out of the situation they're in. So whatever that looked like for them, that's what my intention was. And what happened is, but my world in that atmosphere was stressed and strained. And
Oh,
I was brought into the office and said, Kristen, we see a lot of skill and talent, and you're a wonderful asset to our department. But you have this personal thing going on. Have you considered going to counseling? And I'm just like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like it's not my fault. It's everybody else's fault, and I'm just a victim, and all this and that,
uh-huh.
and so I was open to their feedback because I respected them and they were being vulnerable with me in their situations, and so I went to counseling. They offered 3 free sessions, and so I went. And my first session, my counselor asked, Kristen, first session, I mean, it's 15 minutes in. Kristen, is anybody in your family does anybody in your family have problems with any addictions or drinking or anything like that? And I was like, well, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, this is how it is, and
Everybody's got some dysfunction in their family, right?
this is how it's always been my whole life, and this is, this person is just gonna, is gonna keep drinking, and that's how it is.
Hmm.
So she goes, did you know that alcoholism is a family disease and this is how it affects the family? And so all these things that you're having struggles with, that's not your personality.
No.
That's part of the disease, and it
Yes,
can be changed.
that's
And I was
right.
like, boom, like boom, oh, really? Wow. Okay, how do we do that? I don't want to live like this anymore. Um, so so she introduced me to Al-Anon, and Al-Anon, specifically adult children of alcoholics,
Hmm.
that program
Yep.
introduced me to my church family,
Wow.
and my
Wow.
church family is just so great. They're so amazing. If anybody from Jacobswell and Eau Claire is watching right now, I love you. You're amazing.
Woo! That's good. I love it.
And they introduced me to relationship with God
Amen.
and what it means to be a true disciple of Jesus, and that just opened up all the doors. And I understood that
Hmm.
from
Yeah.
that community, and knowing what love looked like and what
Amen. That's right.
sincere, genuine caring for people, I could emulate that. I could fit into that. So that's
I'll
the
tell you, that was a really concise testimony, and I think based on the testimonies that I've heard, Ed, that was a fun and I mean, I just can't believe you got right to the point of the hurt, the hurt that we have that somehow affects us until we become aware of it. We just think it's just a way of life, and coming to that awareness, that wake up call, and then making the decision to find a way to live a better life. It takes courage, because especially when it happens, when you realize that it's someone close to you that you really love and your family. You almost want to know is how can I separate the two. And the truth is we love people, but we trust God. We can't always trust people because there's always something going on in their life that maybe they're still working on that may come out, like you were saying. And when that comes out, we might feel like a victim when really that's a sign of what we need to work on in keeping that boundary, that safe space. And that's one of the things I think is so wonderful about coach training. When you go to a school and you get trained as a professional coach, they teach you how to separate yourself from the client so that you don't own the conversation that's going on from their perspective, and you don't share your map of the world with them, but you honor it. You come together and you allow the process of the coaching conversation, the art of the conversation, heart to heart, to bring to the surface what needs to be brought up. So how long ago was this that you had the revelation that you accepted the Lord into your life?
That was in 2010. So about
Okay, so this is pretty recently. Fantastic. No wonder you were able to really get right to the point and give your church family kudos. What is the name of your church again?
Jacob's Well.
Jacob's Well. Thank you, Jacob's Well. You've introduced a daughter of the King to me, and I'm so grateful to you. Um, and if you want to mention later where that's at in the United States, that's up to you. So then, were you a coach already at that time?
Oh no.
No. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm actually just seeing, like I said, Food Actions is so new, but well,
Uh-oh. I think we might have had a little interruption in the bandwidth over on the side of Kristen. Let's see if we can wait a few minutes and bring her back into the conversation. Jake Gibbs Well. Lord, we need you.
recently,
Excellent. Good. We're almost back.
there we go.
Good.
Excellent. So, yeah, I'm actually just learning about how things are so integrated.
Mm,
So, for example, mindset is more than just book knowledge. The knowledge that I am a child of God, that I was made to thrive in this world and that He wants the best for me, that so interrelates to what I choose to eat and why, so that I can stay healthy and make those decisions. It helps me determine, what I read and why, and what I want, who I want to surround myself with and why, and
yes.
all those choices that seem small and seem insignificant. When you're looking at a cupcake, you're just like, well, it's just a cupcake. Like, what's the big deal? You know, the bigger picture is what. what do I want to take care of? What's right for me to be able to be the best version of myself so that
Right.
I have a full cup and I
Mhm.
can go and get filled with the Holy Spirit, and I can get filled with nutritious foods, and I can get filled with, exercise and oxygen so that I can have an overflow and pour out to others and give back. And
Wonderfully said. Wonderfully said.
it's just a beautiful thing.
So, are you currently in a coach training program?
I am getting coached by Robert Hollis.
Okay.
Right now, I'm focusing on that type of mindset. Where that he
Absolutely.
great
Absolutely.
job in tying spiritual with the financial mindset. I mean, as I'm learning too, that finances tie in together too. Money is important. If I want to make a difference and I want to help, I need the financial ability to do that. And so
I got to ask you a quick question though. One of the things I've learned as a coach since 2001 is when I studied with Newfield Network out in Malibu, California, actually. About that same time, I stopped in on Terry and Robert in, I think it was Laguna Beach, and spent a week with them. They were so gracious and hospitable to let me stay with them for a week and meet with Bob Klein and Robert when they were kind of putting together the pieces of the puzzle with the limited profits. When you think about your coaching other people and when you're listening, you're coaching yourself too, right? Robert teaches you how to think as opposed to just learn information. Am I right?
right, right,
So in learning how to think like Robert and to think like successful people,
yes,
the language patterns that we use are so important. So the reason why I interrupted you, and I hope you don't mind, is I heard the word need. And when I hear the word need, I hear lack. And so what Robert and I have used in our conversations more over the years has been want, desire. Desire is from God. Okay, the dreams and the desires that are put in our heart when our heart is pure are from God, and He wants to fulfill them through us. He wants us to be the hands and feet. Yet we sometimes have conditioning and tapes that are playing in our head where other people have put their language patterns into our head, especially as babies, which is one of the reasons why I had that trailer for the beginning of our Google Hangout here, is to identify with people that have not come to know that the way they think and speak dates way back to their subconscious, unconscious, almost to where they were in their mother's womb. Do you get that?
yes, absolutely.
Where you were, Kristen, and are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yeah.
So, this week we just had the wonderful celebration of Robert's 53rd birthday.
Yes.
And we look at how Robert's grown over the years and all the people that he's helped. And yet he's very humble and very authentic in sharing with people. Well, when you're as big as Robert, you can't hide it. I mean, but the truth of the matter is he's constantly working on himself and improving himself. He's a lot stronger than he is perceived by other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny how he has used the metaphor or the presentation of Chris Farley. Matthew Hollis puts out that picture of Chris Farley. God rest his soul. But Robert is no obese fat man. It's the way people perceive other people as being obese that is limiting them from following him. Now, he has no limit, you would think, of people following him. He has over 210,000 people that follow his Facebook page.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter how we perceive other people if we don't see ourselves in the mirror as a child of God, as someone that can do the same, if not greater things than Mr. Robert Hollis Sr. And Robert Hollis Jr. is a perfect example of that. Robert Jr. shares his story of how he took detours in this way and that way. Now, you are definitely on the narrow road. I can hear it in your voice that this enthusiasm that you have for unlimited profits and Robert mentoring you and you studying and learning everything you can learn. What made you go to unlimited profits of all the other systems that are available online? What made you choose our system with unlimited profits?
Oh my goodness. Well, because of Jeremy. Jeremy Buckles is amazing, amazing friend and coach of mine. So I met him um, just within the last year, I would say, through a mutual friend, Lisa Harris Gore, who was amazing. And I, he owns a local business, and it's a martial arts business.
Hmm.
And I decided that I was going to take a free week. You know, they offer that a free week, trial week, come in and learn martial arts, come to our white belt classes and see what you think and what you like. Okay, great. I am 34 and I stand at 5 foot 9. And so I was in these white belt classes with little kids. And they're all, really, really small and really, really cute, but I feel ginormous. So, Jeremy is the headmaster there, and he made me feel he created an environment that allowed me to feel really comfortable and just really like this is gonna be okay. And this happens to other people,
Wonderful,
and
wonderful.
and so that was good. And further down the line, I decided that I was going to be involved in a local um, cancer survivor awareness thing that a friend of mine was putting on. And I wanted to be involved, but I didn't have the money. I wanted to raise the money. So I decided that I was going to jump off a cliff into a river in October in Wisconsin.
Wow,
And
wow.
it was a little cold. It is a little chilly,
A
and
cliff
um,
though, a cliff. How high was this cliff?
I don't know. It's a couple stories high, so people jump off of it on a regular basis, but usually, in the summer,
Hmm.
not in
Hmm.
October. And so I sent out a message to my friends like, "Hey, this is what I want to do, and I'm raising money for this." And I raised the money, and there's some amazing people who helped me with that journey. Um, but there was one friend who showed up. There was one friend who was there for me, and that was Jeremy and Angelica. And so they videotaped it for me,
Mm.
and they were there to make sure that if I didn't get out of that river, that they would pull me out.
Excellent. So you had kindred spirits present with you during this significant emotional moment or event, right?
Event. Right. I had no idea that my breath was going to get taken away like it did, and so I was really, really grateful that I could think, yep, these two wonderful people would have the physical ability to pull me out of this water if they needed to, and that they would. So I say all the time, I say I trust Jeremy with my life because I already have,
Hmm.
and it's just an amazing journey. So specifically with Unlimited Profits, I've seen his journey in this, and when he started his mentorship program with Robert Hollis, he was at a specific point in his life, and the growth and like the spiritual growth and the mental growth and just everything that I've watched and seen on the sidelines for the last few months has just been inspirational and encouraging because he's really also jumped in with both feet. He's just in it and he's had that mindset shift. And he's been an
Yep.
entrepreneur since he was a
Yep.
teenager, but
Yep.
it's only been recently with the mentoring that he gets with Robert that he's really just taken it to a new level. So I
Awesome.
really wanted
Awesome. So what we're talking about is you've witnessed the acceleration of growth, the personal growth of one of your close friends. And even though he's been an entrepreneur since he was probably a teenager, the in the period that you've seen tremendous growth, you knew there had to be a catalyst there that had been a part of that. So what do you hope to accomplish with Unlimited Profits in the system of going online? You've watched how many days of training now?
I'm on day 4
Day
today.
4. Okay. So
Yep.
you're a busy woman because you've been involved with Unlimited Profits for about what? A month?
Couple weeks.
Couple weeks. Wow. Okay. All right. And people get involved where they fit in at Unlimited Profits, and sometimes they go through 30 days. before they actually need to, because they just think they need all the information. But really, it's okay to take it one day at a time, like Bill Ebert sets it up with Robert Hollis, and watching the videos, and then putting the actual system and the application to work for you. What do you hope to get from it?
Oh, for me personally, I just know that what I'm going to get from it is an even greater um, just sense of myself. You
Okay,
know, in understanding where I'm at. Those programs you were talking about, you know, when we have the past programming dictating our actions and movements, I want to be a detective and I want to know, okay, what programs are running me, and I want the choice to be, okay, is that
right.
serving me or is it different? And then with this one-on-one mentorship, I just know that I'm going to be able to unlock more of those and have the ability to grow myself as a person. And as I become bigger, as I become more understanding of myself and God's purpose for me, I can then help more and more people. It's awesome to help a couple of people, but it would be more just fulfilling to help more and more people. So that to discover God's plan for me through this is what's really exciting.
Well, I think that you're so humble in sharing that uh, you're personally wanting to grow because you've assessed yourself in such a way that you're willing to put the time into studying so that you could be more of a blessing for others. And yet you've already been a blessing for so many people just with your social media savviness, if that's a word.
I think it is.
I mean, the way that you interviewed Robert Hollis Jr. really touched my heart. I mean, we're witnessing a young man that became a father less than a year ago, and it's so interesting to see how history can repeat itself. Yet we have a choice to change the direction of our family tree. When Robert was a single father with Robert Hollis Jr. and coming into the arms of Terry and her just loving on them both, you can imagine what Robert was thinking and whether or not he was going to be able to provide for his son. And he shares that story so eloquently. He's so real. And not just because I say so, but because so many people that have met him and have witnessed his life over the last, I would say, 28 years, especially in network marketing, and even before that. He's still just a regular guy from Montana, except now he's got a Rolls Royce in his garage. So we've got a few more minutes left in this interview, and we didn't really begin with an agenda per se. Yet, what I noticed when you were interviewing Robert Jr., you really knew how to ask the right questions. And whether that's because you were growing up, as a peacemaker in your own house, looking for ways to improve the situation, or whether it's a natural gift that God has given you to ask strategic questions, which is really what I think a coach does. A lot of people look at coaches as gods, as that they're supposed to have all the answers. Now most people say I need to look at my mentor as that person, and it's just not right. It's just counterfeit gods. We're all just human beings, broken yet wonderfully made and wholly imperfect. And I hope people heard that. I hope people heard that.
Holy,
We're
imperfect.
broken and holy, and I mean that WHOLLY, if you want to believe that too, imperfect. And by being real, my wife Angela Joe says it best. She says being real is simply being authentic. And what she used to say is being perfect is not real. Being real is perfect.
Mm.
And I'm looking forward to the two of you coming together too, and really sharing your journey and your experience with struggling with food and health. I mean, you look at my wife and I look at you, and I can't imagine what you looked like 3 years ago or 4 years ago when you were really struggling with your health. But people just don't know. what's going on in the inside. Myself, a veteran in the United States Navy, I know a lot about invisible wounds. We all know about the wounded warriors because it's a little more obvious, but we don't know about the invisible wounds. And people have hurts and habits and hang-ups, or what some people call addictions. And yet, there's a place to come in the Unlimited Profits community as you are, and you can be healed all the way around. Most people look at it as like, oh, it's all about the money, it's all about the money. Yeah, money will make you arrive in style, you know. It will help you pay for the therapist, but
Yeah.
ultimately it's not the therapist that's the doctor. You're the doctor. We are in our relationship vertically with our Creator, are healing ourselves by remembering who we really are. So as you're continuing to write your own story of where you're going with your destiny and your journey with Unlimited Profits and with Food Actions LLC, a real business where I believe that women of the Western world are responsible enough and worthy, and fortunately for us guys, called to help heal our planet by healing one person at a time for generations to come. So in your process of becoming a food action business owner, starting this business, it's got to be tough. I mean, I haven't heard you mention about another man or anything else like that. It's got to be tough by yourself doing this.
It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's a journey. And right now, I'm not actually. I'm learning that I'm not by myself. I've never been by myself because God has always been with me in holding my hand through this whole thing and telling me, Kristen, you have your, you've just way too much going on. That's been the thing since 2015. Just having one clear focus and having a clear intent. And so that's been a thing. My one word for 2015 is commit. So that's been huge. But one of my commitments has been a new relationship. And so there is somebody actually on my team. There is somebody for me here. And you can see on my Facebook page just how grateful I am for that, for
Mm.
this relationship with this man, because he's truly, 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 truly wonderful. So I get to journey this with him together now, and he's very supportive and just overly. I just can't stop talking about how
Well,
great
that
he is.
is fabulous, and I'm going to respect your privacy and his privacy and not ask any other questions there because your facial expression, oh, that was beautiful. What people just saw speaks volumes. No words can express what it's like to be in true union with another human being, doing this great thing called life, you know. Do you have any questions for me before we wrap up here?
Oh, absolutely, Paul. I was just wondering. I was just wondering. I mean, you filled in a little bit about your relationship with Robert and his family and your experience that you had with them, which is so cool. So, how long have you been a coach, and what has been something that you've taken away from that experience that has helped you grow in your personal relationship with God and your own family?
Wow, wonderful, wonderful question. And there's a lot of different pieces to that. Well, I'd like to say that I'm a misfit. You know, Robert talks about how Unlimited Profits started off with a vision of a bunch of misfits that come together. And anybody likes the songs that Lincoln Brewster does. I remember when he first started his band at 12 years of age, he said, it's Lincoln and the 12 Misfits. You know, um, I I found my relationship with the Lord truly life changing in 1997. I had already had a lot of success, um, had gotten out of the Navy, have a wonderful family, a brother that's a 30-year Marine veteran, and four wonderful sisters that have also given me wonderful nieces and nephews. And I was going through a really tough time uh, after I came to know the Lord, which really threw me for a loop. Here I had all this success, and my ego was definitely out of. It was just my pride was not in a good place, and so um, I, I was married to another woman at the time, and just briefly because we only have a little bit of time here, I decided to become a senior business analyst. I had started and closed probably 7 or 8 businesses at the time from 1986 to 1997, 1998. And one of them was very successful, did about 2 million. That's when I met Robert when he came into my office at the pay telephone company. And so I had this, great house. I had, been married for 7 years, and but I wasn't fulfilled. And so I started doing a Bible study and came to know the Lord. And yet, that's when my world went upside down. And I just started looking at things differently. And I think that's why some people are scared when they get saved at first, because it's not what they thought it was going to be like. And so, as a senior business analyst, I traveled up and down the Eastern Central time zones, and surveyed a bunch of small business owners and helped them improve their profits and their life. But what I realized after about a year of the consulting that came in, the culture of the people in the organization hadn't really changed. So the band-aid that was put on the business started to fall off. So I started looking for a solution, and truly, in 2000, the profession of coaching was still very young and new. So I went out to Chicago, not too far from Wisconsin, and where I actually did my basic training, or not basic training, but my advanced training in the electronics field with the Navy. And I met about 1,500 other coaches worldwide, and there was about 15 to 20% of those 1,500 coaches were men. So it was yeah, I saw your face, yeah. I remember the song by Shaka Khan, It's Raining Men. Well, us few guys, maybe 10 or 12 of us, including Michael Stratford, we went up into this wonderful, the Sheraton, I think it was, hotel on Michigan Avenue in Chicago, and we're on the balcony, and we're singing to the women down below. And my wife today would probably just go, I can't believe he's telling this story. I didn't know her then, so I was completely innocent. But I just really fell in love with the coaching profession. I knew that I'd come home. This is what I was born. This is my purpose. I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And so I immediately signed up after interviewing a couple different coaching training companies with the International Coach Federation. I signed up with Newfield Network, and I started studying emotions and being and the distinctions of action versus grace, and ambition versus surrender, and more results coming. And so after studying for about a year and a half with them, and then witnessing 9/11, I had an interruption in the flow of my life. A couple things happened when I was in the service that automatically came to a higher awareness. Obviously, you can imagine that. You were probably only 10 years old, 9/11, but I realized that a lot of Americans wanted to get closer to their families. It really brought us back for that period of time, to really appreciate what life we had. And so I moved back home. I continued my coaching practice, but on a part-time basis. I started giving all my time and money away. I worked with the YMCA of the Philadelphia area for 3 years. Had an amazing time being a foster parent, or helping my sister, who's a foster parent, raise our niece who has cystic fibrosis. And when it became clear that the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation was going to need money to really find a cure, I fell back into some old patterns of achievement, and more money would find the solution for this disease. And so I left the nonprofit world, went to work in the corporate arena, was part of a company that went public, did really well with them. But my coaching business really just kind of grew I would say flat, especially after 2008. And what I noticed was that even though I had all this knowledge and the skills, um, one, I didn't have the money like I used to have to pay for marketing and all that stuff. And Robert was always there, being a friend and introducing me to this opportunity and this opportunity. But ultimately, we were still talking about unlimited profits and what it could do online for people. I remember he spent a good, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour one night. I'm in my tiny apartment in South Philly, and he says, "What would be the domain name you would use to tell the world who you really are and why you are here?" And in that short period of time, we came up with passionforsharing.com. And that would end up being actually the domain name that would help my wife, actually my current wife, to come to know me. She went to my Facebook page about 6 years ago this month, and she saw Passion for Sharing, and she saw my long hair, and she goes, "I don't like his mullet, but I do like this passionforsharing.com." And we started getting to know each other. And so before we run out here, I'll just say that I'm involved with the Limited Profits because what I know about marketing is very little. And what I know Robert knows about marketing is a lot. And he's documented it, how it can work. Now, I have a passion that's a little bit different than his in how we want to use Unlimited Profits. But ultimately, it's about helping people, one person in life and heart and soul at a time. And that's why I think we're together. And I think I answered that question in about 6 minutes, uh, unlike a woman that knows how to get right to the point. So if I didn't, definitely hold me accountable. I'll be glad to, show up at a time where you can interview me if you like. But I think what we have in place right now with Unlimited Profits and Success in Minutes, the way the blog system works, is everyone has a message inside them like you. And when we use the Success in Minutes blog, we can communicate that message in a framework that also allows the association with Robert Hollis and the number of people that he's helped not only become successful as millionaires, but just successful in their marriages, successful in their physical health, believe it or not. I know people that have taken their life so much more seriously, more genuinely, honorably, respectfully, and it's just, I don't know what else to say. You need to tell me to shut up.
You're doing a good job. It's all so true, and I could talk about all of that forever as well. So it's just really really nice to hear. I mean, concise. Usually, I'm the one who's getting pushed off the voicemail because I'm talking too much, and they're like, "Okay, you're done."
That sounds like me when I used to leave messages for Robert all the time. Well, the key thing is we're here to encourage people. Everyone that's watching and listening to this Google Hangout, I trust that you've had a great experience getting to know Kristen a little bit better. You can easily find her on Facebook at Kristen Langman or Kristen Anne Marie Langman. Is that right?
Anne Marie Langman will work probably the best.
Awesome. And you can find us at successinminutes.com or ourunlimitedprofits.com. That's OUR unlimitedprofits.com. I got to give a credit to Jeremy for bringing you on board here and just allowing himself to be an example. And that's what I'm hoping from this Google Hangout. People can get to know real people having real success, like Scott Kloster and Melody Ryba and Robert Hollis Jr. and Jeremy. And I'm looking forward to seeing your checks grow and what you decide to do with them.
Yeah, I can't wait to start giving money away.
Wonderful. I love your attitude, Kristen. I want to say goodbye and love everyone, and we'll hope to see you in the next segment of OurUnlimitedProfits.com. God bless.